Jennifer Thiessen. I am the new Artistic Director of Virtuosi Concerts here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I'm very pleased to be here with the artists who will be playing our next concert, violinist Robert Uchida and cellist Rafael Hoekman, who will be coming from Edmonton for our March 13th concert, which is at 2:30 p.m. at St. Andrew's United Church in River Heights. It is a live concert, so the only way to experience it is in person at the venue, old school. To make it as safe and healthy as possible, we've decided to keep the COVID protocols in place for now, including proof of vaccination, masks, and distancing. And for tickets and more information, please visit our brand new website at virtuosiconcerts.ca or call the box office 786-9000. And students are in luck because we just put a new plan in place for $10 student tickets at the door starting 20 minutes before the concert. So we want to get as many young musicians in the room as possible to hear this great concert. So thank you, Robert and Rafael, for being here with me today. You're in Edmonton right now, and I think you just got out of a rehearsal. You are the concertmaster and principal cellist of the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra and are also both soloists, chamber musicians, and educators. And I would love to hear a bit from each of you about how you got here, like what your personal practice as a musician has been, what your relationship with your instrument is like, and yeah, what your path up to this moment has been like. We could start with Robert.
Okay, I was going to say, hey, Raph, go ahead. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been playing the violin since I was 4 years old. Went to an arts high school in Unionville for high school, and then did my undergrad in Canada. And actually, Jennifer and I were classmates both at the University of Manitoba and the University of Ottawa, which was great. And then I did my master's at the Manhattan School in New York. And I was very fortunate to have some opportunities to work with some really wonderful orchestras. And yeah, I feel like it's been a combination of hard work, but also a lot of good fortune and kind of being in the right place at the right time a little bit. And I get to work with Raph and so many wonderful colleagues in the Edmonton Symphony, and it's fun for Raph and myself to get to play together, because it's so different than playing in the orchestra, and we've gotten to know each other's playing so well over the years. And yeah, so this has been a really fun project, at least for me. So,
the truth,
yeah, we're really looking forward to being in Winnipeg. But we've all lived there at one time, and it's right. It's a great city.
Yeah, that's right. So you lived in Winnipeg during your bachelor's degree, Robert, and Rafael, you lived in Winnipeg from
back in 2009 to 2011. I was assistant principal of the Winnipeg Symphony for 2 seasons, and then I further west after that.
So Winnipeg is a special place in some way. You've both had musical experiences here, so this will be a return rather than a first visit, which is great.
That's right. Yeah. No, I don't know if I've even been there once since 2011, so probably not. So I grew up in St. John's, Newfoundland. That was and being a professional musician wasn't necessarily the plan as a young person, but everybody in my family played an instrument. My siblings and we were all enrolled in like Suzuki programs. And so I was very, very young, and it was just something that was done in our family where everyone sort of played an instrument. And my mother was actually a local piano teacher, and there in St. John's, and so there was that sort of idea of everybody just sort of doing that. That's a thing that we do. And then when in my teen years, it started to get rather more serious, and was inspired by a lot of violin playing colleagues that I had. Actually, I didn't have that many cello colleagues, a few cello colleagues, but mostly it was these young ladies playing violin, playing like pieces like Mendelssohn Concerto and Zigeunerweisen, and it was really inspiring to me. And I decided, hey, maybe I should, try and be that good too, But it was a little late to start the violin, so I figured I'd just put all my energy into the cello. And I actually did university in Newfoundland for 3 years, and then I went to Montreal and met this wonderful Russian cellist Yuli Turovsky. Spent about 4 years with him, and then completed my studies at the University of Toronto with Shauna Ralston, another great Canadian cellist. And started working from there. Did a lot of string quartet playing, always trying to sort of dabble in different genres of the sort of the business, solo playing, chamber music playing, and orchestral. It's certainly not been a completely linear path, as anyone in the business knows. It doesn't really work that way. Well, for most of us anyway. But yeah, it's been this has been year number 7 here in Edmonton, and I guess I've, like Robert said, the timing, being in the right place at the right time, has allowed Robert and I, to work together a lot in different chamber music settings here in the community, and of course working together in the orchestra. We've put together this duo, and we've discovered, basically gone on a mission to discover the possibilities of this. There's not a lot of music written for this particular specific combination of, which is ironic because it's the 2 most popular string instruments for sure, right? Cello and violin, but they're all the great masters. They wrote works for string quartet and string trio, and you don't have like Beethoven and Mozart string duos. For violin,
this duo really encompasses the best and the second best string instrument.
Well, that's very humble of you, Robert, to praise the cello so highly.
Yeah.
But it is, I love what you said about the non-linear paths, Rafael,
yes.
Because that is, in a way, your program is even called Serpentine Paths, or that's what we've called it after
Serpentine Paths. That's Jocelyn's piece. That's right.
Piece, yeah. And in a way, that's what you're doing with this repertoire, is creating a new path from, as you say, Robert, the most loved, the best. As a violist, I'm biting my tongue a little.
I know, I'm sorry.
But these amazing instruments, in some of the way, the peak performers of the string family in some ways, like these very special instruments. And as a duo, you're creating new repertoire and arranging and playing music by great composers of the past and the present, which is, it's so fascinating. But I was also curious, like the story of your duo, that you're both in the orchestra, but how does it come to pass that 2 leaders in the orchestra end up in a duo rather than, a quartet or a piano trio, or what is the behind the scenes?
I don't know. There wasn't any real kind of strategy or planning behind it. We just had a lot of fun playing together, and can't remember what we did first actually, but there is limited repertoire, but the repertoire is amazing. Like the Kodai duo is so great, and we both really wanted to play it and dig deep into it. And so I think we started with that, and it was just a real pleasure. We just had a lot of fun, and it's just kind of one step led to another, and we started playing more repertoire, and then I don't know, it all just kind of unfolded naturally.
I think it really started with there was one series, and we decided we would play the Kodai I think that's kind of what it was. And it was like, because that's just an awesome piece. And the Kodai duo, it's really the crown jewel of this this violin and cello. There's the Kodai, there's the Ravel sonata, and then after, I guess it's
Is there a Xenakis?
Yeah,
there
it's
is
a really great
Xenakis.
piece, actually. Unfortunately, we're not playing it on this program, but
It's on
just
our
a
list.
It's on our list. It's a 3.5-minute work, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to say Schulhoff, which is also on our list.
Schulhoff is amazing. Schulhoff is also amazing. Yeah.
But the Kodai, I didn't know before, and I heard the video that you have. I think it's on your YouTube page, Rafael, and it's incredible.
Yes, on my channel.
The video is great. Yeah, but it's YouTube channel. Gotta get up to date.
My favorite part of that video is the bloopers at the end.
Oh, I know. I love them too. I was so happy I watched all the way to the end. It's like, yay, bloopers. But the piece is amazing, and the playing is amazing. It's beautiful. Like it's so free. I hope everyone who's listening to the interview will link up that video, because it's really beautiful, and it gives I think a great preview to what might be in store in the concert. The other pieces you have, what's the Fritz Kreisler Preludium and Allegro?
Well, the Preludium and Allegro, it's funny. It's a piece that I played as a kid, and it's a great piece. And somehow, one day, Raf and I we wanted to experiment. So we both brought like a stack of music, just to experiment with things. And I said, let's try this piece. I feel like it lends itself really well to this combination. And we just started working through it. And honestly, I mean, and I know I'm not really unbiased in this regard, I think it's even better with violin and cello. No kidding. It's great, because the opening, for example, the piano just plays kind of block chords. It's a chord for every bar. But the way we do it, Raf is able to give so much more intensity and direction to this opening. It's so great. And then what's also cool is that Kreisler was writing in this kind of neo-Baroque kind of style. And the Allegro part of the piece sounds way more Baroque and like virtuoso with violin and cello, because we're able to match our articulation so much better. And so it's really, it was kind of a discovery for us both, and a lot of fun. And we tried other Kreisler pieces and everything too, and some of the other ones work as well, but this one, somehow it just feels right. So that's what we,
It wasn't easy. I had to sort of make the arrangement myself from the piano score, and you wouldn't want to see what I've got on the page in front of me. It's like, it's this cut and paste job. It's great. And truthfully, we had to sort of go through a bit of trial and error as to see what was working and what sounded right and everything. Because I'm not the type of person to sit down at a computer and do an arrangement like that. And but we it was it's easy for Robert. He just plays the piece. I have to I have to work out all kinds of crazy.
It's super easy for me. That's right.
Well, from that point of view, it's an easier thing. No, it's really wonderful, and actually we're looking forward to doing more stuff like that. We've been talking about like Bartok Romanian dances. We're going to do something like that well in the future, and there's a lot of possibilities. The cello pieces we can arrange as well, where the violin does stuff and we share melodies, and it's a little bit of an untapped resource, this whole but I think the reason is you have to be pretty good. because if you don't,
absolutely,
no, really, because you have to play a lot of double stops and chords in the accompaniment. It's not so simple. You can't just play like single notes. It doesn't fill out the thing. I think that's why the composers were like, oh yeah, I'll just write for string quartet, because that's much easier to fill out the harmony and to have the, you know what I mean? They didn't. You didn't have like those. You didn't have like Schubert say, "Oh, I'll write this beautiful, rich, huge piece for violin and cello." It's not existing, right? They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have the string quartet. That's where I can do all this complicated
Yeah,
things.
it's like it's an interesting place between solo music and chamber music. It is chamber music because it's
Yes.
more than one person, but it's that like when you're playing solo and you have that the entire role of creating the phrase and the harmony, the melody, everything.
Yep.
As a duo with two instruments that are often soloistic
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, two melodic instruments. It's an interesting zone for chamber music actually.
Yeah.
But in a sense, it also seems like I keep liking to call chamber music the music of friends. Someone I know wrote a book called Mozart's Music of Friends, and just that whole social aspect of, like the development of European chamber music in the classical era, and really coming from that social context and as a way of spending time together, as a way of making
Mm-hmm.
music.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because Raph and I don't get along at all.
I can tell. I sense some tension in the room.
Yeah.
In the Zoom.
Yeah.
But it is like you almost think of violin and cello duos. Like there are probably a lot of student duos, I would guess, or like that people would play together. I don't know. It seems like because the instruments are commonly played, and then
Usually you have two cellos or two violins.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a sort of teacher student
Right. Yes.
little
Yeah.
duos, like sort of etude type deals like that. But it's yeah, I think it's anyway, it's an interesting genre to explore, and it's definitely, I mean, for myself, it's definitely pushed sort of me in the right direction. Further direction. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, actually. Like to tell you the truth, like when you sit and play piano trio, even I even feel more at home in string quartet.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it gels together. But this has definitely been a challenge. But because Robert is so strong and so easy to work with, it's been
I'll pay you later. Yeah.
It works. And of course, like, our program mixes these, like I say, these crown jewels of the duo. Where we're playing the Kodai, the entire Kodai, and of course the Handel Halverson, which I suppose is originally for violin and viola, but let's be honest, it sounds better.
Oh, hey.
I'm gonna have my honesty. But then we also have these wonderful arrangements. The one we did ourselves, the Chrysler, and then there's a little bit of John McPherson in there, who's our colleague in the Edmonton Symphony. He's actually the principal trombone at the Edmonton Symphony, but a fantastic composer and arranger in his own right. And so he's been really amazing, giving us some arrangements stuff. And then of course we have Jocelyn Morlock's piece, and which is part of
She's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
she's one of my favorite Canadian composers.
Mm-hmm.
It's fabulous. It's really a very dense work. There's a lot of nuance and detail in the writing. It's very rhythmic, very exciting, and really masterfully written. I actually don't know what instrument Jocelyn plays, but it wouldn't. I mean, but she writes in a way that's so it kind of idiomatic for it's great.
Very well for cello and violin. I mean, I can't speak for the violin, but generally very, very well for cello. She has a lot of other pieces for cello, and that piece you did Solace for violin and cello and string orchestra as well.
And is that a piece? Is it a piece you commissioned, or was it already written?
No, actually. Wait, do you mean Serpentine Paths, or
yes.
do you mean Song? Oh, yeah. So no, it was written for Rachel and Akemi Mercer.
Okay.
And they actually did this wonderful recording of a whole bunch of duos by Canadian women composers.
All women, yeah.
And actually, that's how we came to know the piece, as we listened to this recording.
Okay.
And all of the music on the recording is really excellent. And the Serpentine Paths really stood out as being a piece. Raph and I said, we really want to learn this like right away.
Yep.
So, and we both agreed on that, which was nice and maybe a little unusual. I don't know. No, but it was,
That's great.
no, it's been a wonderful journey of learning that piece and learning Jocelyn's music.
And while we didn't commission it, it hasn't been like, basically the piece was written right before COVID, right?
Okay.
So it's it hasn't been played much at all outside of the recording. So it's something we can bring.
It'll definitely be the Manitoba premiere.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, your concert will be our first concert of this calendar year. We had to cancel January and February. So there's so much about returning to playing to concerts, you know, hearing repertoire we haven't heard before, meeting people we haven't met before, all of that we all miss so much during restricted times. Your concert for our series, and I think for Winnipeggers and Manitobans, is really, it's at a point for us that's really important. And I was thinking about it as well, March 13th in 2020, that was the day, you know, that all of the cancellations came in, all the
That's right.
the information was really being spread. People were starting to take action to shut things down. That day, it was a Friday, the 13th. I remember that day so well. And then I realized now we're 2 years later on this day, to have you come and play, I think is really beautiful. Like it's a really big step in the right direction for us all. It feels really great. Yeah. So thank you so much. Was there anything else you would want to add about your program or coming to Winnipeg? I know you're playing on Monday. You have master classes at the University of Manitoba. That is so good.
I'm looking forward to seeing the new building. It's
beautiful. It's nothing like we had. Every time I go to the University of Manitoba campus, I still expect to turn into the little old building. And now they have this big, beautiful glass.
Hey, yeah, I'm excited to see it.
I'm looking forward to that too. I didn't know that there was a new building.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Really.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to come to Winnipeg.
It's going to be great. Manitobans, you're in for a treat. Get your tickets online at virtuosiconcerts.ca or at the door. And especially students, those $10 tickets, you need to take advantage of that. So we hope to see you all there.